good evening, and welcome to your All For Back podcast on this sunny Friday evening. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Panther himself, Mr. Shads.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Shads. And making his return is the dragon himself, Mr. Chester 430. Good evening.
Good evening, Hads. Good to be back.
Good man, good man. And also, our producer for tonight is Ben Thompson. Evening, Ben.
Good evening.
How are we all?
Well,
Keeping well, best we can.
Bandits are getting bad at Redcar, so I'm gonna have a very tough evening.
Oh dear.
That is not very good. She just spent £12 on the stream as well. So
What's the score,
got paid.
Shads?
You don't want to know. I think they're about 14 points down. Oh, 5-point heat 8. Oh, okay. Should be a bit happier. Otherwise, it's going to be a very tough evening. I think I'll stay in this room away from her till she goes to bed. I think.
Oh dear. Right, coming up on tonight's show, we have the League 15 league reviews, along with the league table, and as always, Shad's ride of the week. A little break, and then the BGP and SES previews for round 6, and the second leg knockout cup final preview. So, firstly, we're going to begin with our first review from the previous week, and your eyes are not deceiving you. Shawfield Panthers and the Powder Horse Scorchers played out a 45-all draw, and I'm going to come to you first, Shads. I know you wasn't part of the meeting in this one, but obviously your team. Finally, that well-deserved point you've been looking for.
Yeah, it's part of the reason they got the draws because I wasn't there, probably.
Oh dear.
Really, I mean, I know we got a draw and we're pleased as punch with it. The team are pleased as punch, but I can't help thinking we could have won that one. I felt a little bit empty because I wasn't part of it. I'm very proud of the team, obviously, to get our first point of the season. I mean, we knocked on the door a few times. I think we lost narrowly at home to your team, didn't we? So I think we only lost by 2 points. We should have got something. At Somerset. I don't think we're that far off at your place. I think we only lost by 10 in the end. Yeah, it's a great performance. It's a team performance. I mean, Hutty didn't score any points, but he played his part. You know, he was getting in the mix and messing about and holding people back and stuff. So it's great to see Ben scoring some points. He's had a good week this week. Got his mojo back, hopefully. Scotty as well. Scotty doing a real great job at number 5. It's always a difficult place to. I mean, he's not really a top heat leader. I think he'd admit that. But to come in at 5 and score, paid 13, brilliant. And Cappy keeping up his score. Maybe his last 2 rides weren't great, but he's holding up his average pretty well. I think perhaps he'd be a bit disappointed with his score, but you know that's the way it's going this season with him. I think he's struggling a little bit in league meetings. Seems to do a lot better in the SCS.
Yeah.
But no, we're happy with the point. Scorchers will be kicking themselves. It's losing a point. I think they might have expected to get a win, if not all 4 points, which sort of messes up their league championship hopes. You know, they've got to rely on teams getting points off of the Dragons now, and also winning their last 2 meetings, which won't be easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, good night for us. Maybe not such a great night for the Scorchers.
Yeah, I think looking at also at your score chart, we have to say about Skyrider. obviously former
Oh, I
Panther,
forgot to mention him. Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
coming back in 9
Yeah.
plus 2. Very, very good night's work. I mean, apart from his first ride, 9 plus 2, and in Heat 15 as well, getting that
Yeah.
all important second place to get the draw.
I think Heat 14 was the key heat for me.
Yeah.
After Heat 10, I thought we were done for. 6 points behind, and obviously not. Wasn't going to play a tactical in that one with Scotty in and Ben riding so well. And then obviously replacing Hutty with Ben in 12, so that one, and then 13, you're not going to replace your top two. So Heat 14 was the one that I thought, wow, that's going to be a difficult one with Jan racing so well. But no,
Yeah.
It was a brilliant gate from Bewitcher and a brilliant gate from Ben, and Bewitcher sort of sneaked up on the inside. And I don't know what Jan was doing on the last lap, but he went a little bit wide, and Ben took advantage and nipped inside. Yeah, that was the key heat for me. I wasn't expecting a 5-1 in that one. I've got to be honest.
Yeah. So that was a good, obviously, score, as you mentioned there, from Ben. Obviously taking an extra 2 rides as well. But I also think I'm going to mention the number 7 for the Scorchers. 5 plus 3 from Alan McNally. That's his best score, I think, of the season. Paid 8,
Yeah.
I know he had 5 rides, but I think every time I've seen him ride this season, he seems to get that little bit better, and it seems to be paying off for him, I think.
Yeah, the track seems to suit him a little bit better than the Powder Hall, which is a very technical track, isn't it? It's one of those tracks where you've got to be right on the fence, and I think for the likes of Alan and me and some of the lower ranked riders, it's difficult to get the boost. I think the Shawfield track suits him a lot better.
Yeah. Obviously, you got also there Marecki and Cam, double figure scores once again from both those. Limo and Jan only won 1 race between them, which I found a little bit. It's not like them two. Whether they hadn't done as much practice or whether they just got stuck into the. It's obviously a quite significant line on the Shawfield track. So, but hats off to the Panthers, I've got to say. I am going to ask Dan about his thoughts on the Panthers finally gaining a point here.
Yeah, I'm chuffed to bits for him. It's taken a while, but good to see the boys finally getting that point on the board, so no one goes through the season, with a 0. It happened with the Norse a couple of years ago, and they waited until their sort of tail end of the season to get their first point. But yeah, chuffed to bits for the Panthers. They had to work for it though. Being behind right up until Heat 14. Actually, no, they were leading by 2 at 7. But then that 5-1 in Heat 8 sort of swung the tie in the Scorchers' favour. And then kept it right up to Heat 14 and got that much needed 5-1. All the pressure was on Skyrider and Scott in Heat 15, but they held their nerve and got that through they needed. So fair play to the Panthers for getting that point.
Yeah, I have to agree. I've just noticed as well that Marecki was actually unbeaten going into the last race. I didn't notice that before. So that's even better, to be fair, for the Panthers. So yeah, I think.
Yeah, that horrible gate 2 had. We were talking about that earlier, weren't we? I think was it an 8% win rate at Shawfield of gate 2?
Yeah, we had a quick look at the gate stats earlier. There's only been 5 wins off gate 2 all season at Shawfield.
The last four heats, gate 2 came last.
Yeah, the only one to win from gate 2 in this meeting was Ben in heat 2. So hats off to Ben for that one.
Yeah,
that was only
one of the rare heat wins off gate 2.
Yeah. So that was.
I don't understand why. I don't really get why Gate 2 should be so bad. I mean, maybe the outside gates, but why is it such a difference between Gate 1 and Gate 2? I think Gate 1's about 25% win rate or something like that. So
Yeah,
you'd think
it was
they'd be sort of like a bit more even. It's a bit weird.
very strange, to say the least. But that is, I was just saying, a very good point for the Panthers, and 2 points for the Scorchers, obviously, with an away draw. So fair play to both teams in that one. As we move on to our second match, which is Newcastle Wolves against the Paul Cowboys. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Chester for this one, as obviously I was in this meeting. So take it away, Dan.
Yeah, it was a good close match, this one. The Cowboys had to play attack sub in the Heat 14, got them to at least some respectable score. But again, Newcastle at home, they're very rarely beaten. And for yourself, Hads, I think that's your best ever score that I've seen, 11+1 from 6 rides.
Yeah, it takes quite a while, to be fair.
It's very, very, very good. That puts you in good stead for the second leg of the KO Cup coming up as well. So you got that momentum going into the meeting. So a couple of noticeable, I'd say, under par scores. I'd say Sis only scoring 8. I mean, yeah, he got 2 Heat wins, but those 2 last in his last 2 sort of was a bit of a surprise. Powis there leading the way with 11. In fact, had you top scored 11+1, so fair play to you there, bro. But again, Wolves much needed win, puts the momentum to the second leg of the KO Cup, which we'll talk about later on. As for the Cowboys, Craig leading from the start as always, only dropping a couple of points. He did have 6 rides, but still finishing on 14. Cam coming in for Sudden Rotten, who again seems to have been vanished off the face of the earth, really. I don't know about the minimum match counter that needs to be looked at in that situation. And again, Bobby started well, 2 Heat wins, unceremoniously out of his 3rd ride, but then finished on 3 from his last 2 to finish on 9. So again, solid stuff from the Cowboys number 5. And again, I think JC could have done a little bit better. 5 points from 4. I mean, it's not his highest score, but you'd expect JC with his experience to score a little bit more than 5 points. And again, Rico. I mean, let's say Badger and Rico are kind of the ones that needed to score a bit more points either side, because obviously he's only scoring 2 points between them on both sides. I mean, something's got to be done about those two. But yeah, it was a good close match. You like him close rather than so one-sided. And yeah, good win for Newcastle to keep that momentum going for the next match they've got against the Scorchers in the KO Cup second leg.
Yeah, I think I have to agree. Obviously, it's a good home win. We wanted, obviously, all 3 points, but to be fair, the Cowboys deserved to get the point their way. They rode on the night. I mean, obviously, Craig there was pretty good with 14-1. And also Bobby. When I knew I was being in Heat 14 and then I saw that we were 8 in front, I thought, I know what's coming here. And that race against Cam and Craig, I mean, that was probably one of the hardest races I've had all season, to be fair. But so I got second place. Don't quite know, to be fair, but pretty pleased with that one. But I'm going to bring in Shads. And was this the result that you were expecting, or did you expect more?
I was expecting the Wolves to get all 3 points. To be honest with you, I think another team like the Scorchers at Shawfield that would be disappointed they didn't get all 3 points, which helps the Dragons And what I think what I found a bit strange was the use of the tactical sub in Heat 14, because the previous week when I guested for the Cowboys at home to the Dragons, they were 8 points down after 13 and they didn't use the tactical sub. They kept me in. But this time,
Yeah,
for
I
some
do remember
reason,
that.
Bobby decided to go for the tactical substitute, which came good in the end. It's probably got them the point. If it, and all due respect to Hobnob, but if he'd have kept him in the lineup, I think you probably would have got the 5-1, which would have given you like all 3 points.
Yeah,
But no, bit of a strange decision. But not a strange decision. The previous week was the strange decision. This was the right decision.
yeah.
But no, I think the only winners out of this meeting were the Dragons. I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's all or nothing. Now for the Wolves, for the remaining 2 meetings, obviously a good point for the Cowboys.
You need to go and win it. You need to go and win at Oxford next meeting. Really,
Yeah, I agree.
I think anything else is you can't really talk about winning the league, because you'd expect Oxford to get something at Shawfield. Even if we beat them, they're going to get a point. I think the worst they're going to do is a point, and then they've got you next week. So I think next week's going to be crucial for you. You have to win at Oxford.
Yeah, I do
Week
agree.
after, Shad.
But
Week after,
that,
yeah.
I think the Cowboys will be pretty pleased with the point, especially after the way the Knockout Cup semi-final home leg went. So obviously it was a lot closer. So a very good point for the Cowboys there. So we move on to our final meeting of the week, and this was me and Shad's actually commentated on this one.
Good.
The Spartans versus the Dragons. I mean, the track. I mean, it's just one of the best tracks to commentate on. The racing was, I think, some of the best I've seen this season. It was superb all the way through the meeting. I mean, again, we had a couple of guests in this meeting. Ben was there, number 7, in place of Method, and Scotty B was in place of Stephen 101. And I think we alluded to it beforehand, Squall putting himself at number 5. But that didn't seem to make a lot of difference, really. For the Dragons, normally, if they're forced to Squall would be number 6. So, fair play to him for that. But, I mean, where do we start with this one? It was to and fro all the way through the meeting. I mean, I don't think none of the races were really won until the last lap, some of them as well. It was that close.
Yeah.
Some very good performances. I mean, who would you say impressed you the most in this one, Chads?
Well, obviously, Stefan goes without saying. I think I said in the commentary that his last meeting there, he only scored 7 points. So he got back to his normal. I mean, you've got to say Super Dip with an extraordinary last 4 heats. I mean, he looked lost in his first heat in heat 1. He was nowhere near. He was well off the pace, but I don't know what happened to him after that first heat, because after that he was, I mean, fantastic. I mean, that last heat, and I called it, didn't I? In the commentary, I said they'll put him in heat 15 because he was just on fire his last 3 races, and it was a brilliant last bend. I don't know how the hell he got past Brendan Hart on that last bend. But Tank hasn't put the recordings up, so I'm just going from memory. It looked for all the world like a 4-2. I mean, it wouldn't have made any difference to the result. I mean, Dragons still would have got a point.
Yeah.
But it was an extraordinary last last bend by Dip. I don't know where the hell he came from. He wasn't on my screen, and all of a sudden he just appeared out of nowhere. I think he took Brendan by surprise. I don't think Brendan did much wrong. Just that Dip just managed to hit the line and did something. God knows what he did. I think that looking at the couple of heats I want to look at, I think heat 12 was really important for the Spartans.
Yeah.
With that 5-1. And also the next heat as well. You don't often see Stefan getting 5-1 home or away anywhere, really. But no, credit to Race, Ryan and Brendan. They rode a brilliant race. Which probably, not so deflated the Dragons, but that sort of took away any chance they had of winning, of getting a draw at least. Those two heats were the standout heats for me.
Yeah, I think that heat 13, as you mentioned, that's probably some of the best team riding. I mean, Ryan Gate did, and he was like a rocket. And
Yeah, that's
inside
a good
and
point.
outside.
Yeah.
Brendan Ryan, that was, to be fair, he takes a lot to, as you said, get a 5-1 against Stefan anywhere, especially on the form he was in. But that was pretty good.
You just got to think, if Brendan had been with the Spartans from the start of the season, you think there would have been a challenging up the top a bit more?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, the squad now they've got, I mean, that top 5 is as good as anybody's, in my opinion.
That's a league winning squad if you look at it now. And so they had that at the start of the season, I think they would have been top of the league by now.
I mean, you've also got to remember that Toby didn't ride either from the Spartans.
No, he was in Aberystwyth, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Somewhere in Wales, yeah.
So,
but Scotty was a good guess. I mean, you can see why the Dragons picked him, because of like an ex-Somerset rider from season 18. And he goes around there very well, but he sort of fell off a cliff after his second ride, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, that first ride, he had off gate 4, and that was the quickest time of the night as well, of gate in heat 3. I mean, it was just on, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. That's a brilliant time. Wasn't far off the track record either, was it? Just over half a second.
And also, we have to give our thanks to Limo for streaming this one, and then we changed over. Limo still run the meeting, and then Stephen took over. But I am going to bring Dan in. I know he probably doesn't want me to, because I know he guested for the Spartans earlier on in the season. What did you make of this meeting then, Dan?
Where the hell was I? all that training, I was quick in training, and just the match just fell apart, and I just don't understand why. I was looking forward to coming down to this track as well, because obviously my last two trips there I actually scored quite well. And I guessed for the Spartans, and then I guessed for the Cowboys at the Spartans, and I was almost in E15 against the Spartans when I was guessing for Cowboys. So I had I wanted to come here and put on a good show, but it just fell apart straight from that first race. I was like, what the hell happened? And then I just knew the second that we went 6 points down, I thought, that's it, that's me done. Heat 14, game closed, back on wherever it is, or back on ETS or something, or PS5, and just had the rest of the night.
I think what you got to look at as well, Dan, is the big difference was having Ben as a guest for Method, and when you wouldn't expect Method to score 7 points. No disrespect to him, but he's not scored like anything like that this season. So I think Ben scoring 4 points from his 7 points from his 4 rides probably swung it the Spartans' way.
Yeah. I mean, we now got to look for we now got to look to the Wolves in 2 weeks, knowing that a win against them was going to give us pretty much one hand on the trophy. We hope.
You're still in the box seat.
Yeah, I think the match against Wolves is going to be the most critical that the team have. We hope to have them all, everyone firing on all cylinders that match. So when we go to Shawfield, we know that if a good result against the Wolves puts less pressure on us for
Could have
Shawfield.
sewn it up by then. You could have sewn it up by then and just give us the win.
I doubt we'll do that, mate. I doubt we'll do that. All I can say, I mean, if the last two matches are, if I'm in the last two, it's been a blast riding for the Dragons this season. It really has. Didn't expect it. Start of this year, I thought it was going to be in the pool for the whole season, and just by chance went in the Dragons training server, and it was rest is history. So if this is my last couple of matches, it's been a pleasure, lads, and yeah, maybe 21, maybe season 21 with Dragons again.
Who knows? So to be fair, that road when you actually got the 1-on-1 in Heat 4. To be fair, that was against Ben as well. That was a pretty good ride. To be fair, me and Chad said afterwards in the commentary.
Yeah.
The way Ben was riding, you just position yourself just enough to stop Ben getting past a couple of times.
Good blocking.
Yeah. Yeah, it was it was a good match. Fair play to the Spartans. They've come good at the right time. And as you said, would they have been a bit more in contention if the team they had there was from the start of the season? Most definitely. But yeah, it's just been, the meeting I sort of want to put behind me now. Look ahead to Wolves in 2 weeks, and then Shawfield in the season finale, and hopefully become a league champion for the first time. Be a part of it.
Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But we're going to see what that does to the league table after this week's. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. Sorry. The match race obviously took place after the match. Stefan defending against Ryan. Ryan actually went 1-0 up. They're both going inside, outside. I mean, I know, to be fair, for a 2-rider race, it's probably some of the best racing I've seen, to be honest. You look at the race times, there's nothing in any of those, is there really? I mean, but Stefan did pull it back in the end and won 2-1 to retain the silver helmet once again. So congratulations to Stefan, and a good effort from Ryan, to be fair. So now we will move on to the league table and see what that has done.
Rider of the week first?
No.
Do the league table first.
There we go. So 8 matches completed for each team now, and the Dragons still holding that 3-point lead at the top over the Scorchers and the Wolves on points difference there, and the Spartans now creeping up just 2 behind on 14, the Cowboys on 9, and there we have the Panthers getting off the mark this week with their points. But someone pointed out the other day that actually the Spartans have the best points difference, which I find quite strange in 4th place. I don't know what you two guys think of that, but
I never noticed that.
Strange one. That. I think obviously they had that big victory. I think the 62.
62-28.
Was it the Cowboys against the Cowboys?
Against the Cowboys.
There's not been that many 60-pointers. I think there's only been 2, and that was that one and when Oxford beat the Panthers in the KO Cup.
Yeah.
There's not really been too many really big thumpings, has there?
Nope.
Can't think of anything else off the top of my head.
But the Dragons are in pole position, as you say, with 2 matches to go from the Scorchers and the Wolves in 2nd and 3rd. So now we will move on to the Rider of the Week as we pass over, as always, to Shads.
Oh dear, I've got a list of riders here that are in contention. The longest list I've had this season, I think. start with Scotty. Well, he's paid 13 at home to the Scorchers. A brilliant performance, Scotty. Just what we know he can do. Like he was reminding me earlier, he's only 2 Panthers that have actually raised their average this season. Obviously Ben, well, he's paid 11 against the Scorchers and a fantastic performance at Somerset at reserve. I think I don't think he might be able to confirm it. I don't think he knew he was in the team until shortly before because he was on standby. Is that right, Ben? I think he said.
Yeah,
I think he
it
said
it was basically on the. I think it was the Sunday. DL asked me if I could ride, but I said yeah, and then he came back to me a bit later and said, "Can you just be on hold? 'Cause I think we're all right now." And then
I think I remember you saying.
And then he asked me when I think I was on the way home if I was still all right to ride on the night. And yeah, so and then I think I jumped into practice about 7:45, I think, something like that.
Maybe it's better if you don't practice so much then.
Yeah.
Just practice on the night. Well, that obviously those 2 scores. Obviously Hadlington, when he's paid 12 with his brand new cable now, scoring what he should be. Cam, last Cam, brilliant score at Shawfield. Putting himself in the shop window for guest appearance. I don't think that's going to happen somehow. I think we've got a full squad. Marecki, one blip in his score chart at Shawfield for the Scorchers. Super Dip with his fantastic score. The Dragons at Somerset. And also, can't not mention Stefan's paid 16. But for my ride of the week this week, guy who rode in 2 meetings, scored brilliantly at reserve on 3-point average. My ride of the week is Ben Thompson.
There we go. Congratulations, Ben.
But deep down, it would have been the entire Shawfield team if they had a chance to, anyway.
Yeah, I know you did say that, but we have to give it to one person. I mean, if we'd have won the meeting, I probably would have given it to the whole team, but you have to give it to Ben for just he's been racing this year. He's not been obviously not racing as well as we know he can, but 2 really good performances this week. I've got his mojo back now, so I think the Dragons better watch out.
There we go. So, congratulations to Ben on this week's Rider of the Week. Now we're just going to have a little 2-minute break, and we will be back with the GP and SES previews, along with the Knockout Cup ready for next week. So we'll catch you all back in 2 minutes. And welcome back to your All Four Back podcast with myself, Hadlington, 83, Chester 430, and Shads, with our producer, Ben Thompson, as we move on to the previews for this Sunday, round 6 at Bahia Blanca, which I believe is Argentina. And firstly, we'll be looking at the GP series. There is a couple of changes to the original draw from last week, where we have TJ Griffiths replacing Mackinnon for the remainder of the series after Mackinnon withdrew, and Marecki comes in this round to replace Bobby, who is unavailable. So, Shads, obviously, you're in this one. What do you make of the track this time around?
Yes, I've had a few laps last night. I think in Can Server. It's all right. It's a bit one-liney, but one of those dive in and drift out sort of tracks. I would say it suits me, but it probably suit me better if I was on the SCS. To be honest, I'm looking at what. See what does catch my eye is Heat 11.
Yeah.
Heat 11. Stefan, Sizzler, Paris. That's your top three there in the standings. And then you add Lofty to the mix, who's looking to qualify. He's got a very, very good chance of qualifying, I think, for next season. Being only 8 points behind Bobby, and obviously Bobby missing this. So if Lofty can get a maybe double point haul, it puts him right up there. I think Bobby and the likes of Bobby and School and Cappy will be looking over their shoulders a little bit.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
Ryan's the only. I mean, even Stephen with a couple of last good scores in the last two meetings. I think he's riding in this, isn't he? I think he is, isn't he? It's only Bobby and Mackinnon that are out this. So Lofty and Stephen 101 will be looking to sneak into that top 8. I think Bobby's going to struggle if he obviously is missing this one.
Yeah.
Even if he rides in the last one, I think Lofty could very well overtake him after this meeting.
Yeah, definitely agree with that one. Dan, any other races stand out for you in this one?
Well, Chad took my heat 11, having the top 3. In this meeting, all heats are tough races anyway. They're all. I mean, for me, I would say heat 16 possibly, or heat 17. Heat 17 with Stephen, Steph, and Owen. Of course, Owen's been on good form as of late, so he want to put a sparrow in the works, and if he can beat either or both dragons in that heat, it's going to give him the confidence to go to the Oxford match, knowing that he's beaten the top 2 in the dragons team. But again, as you said, all eyes are on Lofty. If he can have a good score, as you said, Shads, puts him in good stead for qualification for next season's season. The next season's series, I say rather.
Looking good in practice as well.
Yeah,
I practiced with him a couple of times, and he seems to have taken to the track really well.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting him to score big.
Yeah.
Just think, Lofty. It's me, Herbie, and Craig in one race, and you're going from gate 4, get right across all 3 of us, and you'll have no trouble.
No, it's a long way. It's a long way from gate 4. To be fair, on this track, it is a long way from gate 4.
Easy.
But I've just, I think my heat I'm gonna have a look at. Apart from that, is heat number 7 with Craig, Owen, TJ, and Paris. I think that'll be a decent, very decent race. But as you said, every race in this series is so tough. Anybody can beat anybody really on their day in this. No team riding allowed, Chads, I believe.
Yeah.
They need to.
that should have been in private chat. Oh dear.
I think it wasn't the last round. I think it was the round before in my last heat in the SCS, and I was against like 3 Panthers, and I'm like, I know what's happening here. They all need to take me out there.
If what, yeah, yeah. Well, if everyone has seen my attempts at team riding, Lockleys could probably going to end up in the grass.
Yeah, but as you say, that is your round 6 lineup for Sunday. As we move on to the SCS series, and the big news in this one is that current leader Jan is absent from this meeting. He will be replaced by Badger, and also coming in is Alan McNally for David
Like for
Mayfield.
light then. Like for light then, has it? Badger in for Jan.
To be fair, the list of there's not many people available really now. Obviously, I know some people don't like riding in these meetings, and some of them can't do Sundays, so
Dan,
it is limited
he's looking
to
at
who we
he's
can
looking
put
at
in.
you, Dan.
To be fair, I have asked Dan to be on standby. I did ask Dan to be on standby earlier because Rico was not sure if he makes it back in time. But I will say, what I don't think Rico does know, that if he doesn't compete in his first race, he can't compete in any other race. I believe that's right.
I think that's
in
the
these
rule,
matches,
yeah.
I think that's the rule.
That's the rule.
So
yeah,
it's one of those, unfortunately. We have Brendan Hart in this one as a wild card, so I think he'll throw up some, definitely be in the mix. But Big Slow Caney has been absent for a couple of rounds. He's back in this one, of course. But I think it's obviously this is going to be a big one for both Scotty B and JC as they try and push on and overhaul Jan. I think Cam will be probably leading after this round, whether he wins the meeting or not, because of Jan's absence. But it's going to be a tough one again. I'll come to you first, Shads. Have you got your eyes on anybody in practice? Anybody
well,
impressing
I've seen Cam obviously last night he was on fire. He was taking the mick really. Some of his times were just like ridiculous. If he rides anything like that on Sunday, I think he's going to be in the box seat. I'm not sure if Scotty's done any laps or many laps, unless he's done a few solo. So I'm not sure how well Scotty's going to do. Probably going to surprise us and get in the final and win it. Like he did in the last round, got into the final. You've got to say it's going to be an advantage for Cam in this one, and JC. Caney's too far behind now after missing 2 rounds. I mean, he's looking really good after his first 3 rounds. I think it's between those top 3 at the moment. I think even Jan missing it, I think he's still got a chance in the last round. Obviously, we don't know availability for everyone. I'm pretty sure Cam will be available. I'm pretty sure he'll make sure he's available.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how much Scotty wants to be in the Grand Prix next year. We might see Scotty have not such a great meeting.
Oh dear.
If he can't win it, he's if I was going to put any money on anyone to win this round, it wouldn't be Scotty. But he might surprise us. Pride might kick in, and he'll put in a sterling performance and mess up Cam's night.
Yeah, I do think this is going going to be another close one. Obviously, I've only done the one practice session so far, but the guys I did see in there were looking pretty quick, to be fair. Apparently Chester's now Polish as well. Looking at that picture.
Pardon?
Can
Where?
you not see that, Dan?
Oh, lofty as always.
Oh dear me.
Oh, Jesus.
Just-
Jesus.
Oh,
I
that's
do
quick.
I do worry about
This is why we want you.
Lof-
This is why we want you here, Dan. This is why we need you here. Lofty wouldn't come into chat if you weren't here.
I do worry about
dear.
his search history, I really do.
I mean that's a pretty good name there that Cam's come up with already. Oh dear me. Yeah, as well. I'll come to you, Dan. Polish Dan now. You're known as Polish Dan. Is there any races here that stand out for you?
Well, for me, it would have been Heat 1 if Jan was riding, because it would have been Cam versus Jan in the first race.
Yeah.
So that would have been my race to look at, because I think if Cam can get a decent couple of points from his first two rides, it's gonna put him in front anyway. He just got to obviously score quite a few to get into the semi, and then get maybe the final. I said it's all about gating in this track, a bit one-liner. Again, these guys are looking for momentum going into their respective matches in the next couple of weeks. If I was to pick another heat, I'd probably say off the top of my head. Where is it? I've lost it now. Where is it? I've lost it. I don't know where it is. I was going to say Heat 10.
Yeah,
So
Cam
Bewitcher,
just said that actually.
Bewitcher, Wayne, Brendan, and Cam himself. Of course, it all depends which Bewitcher turns up. Because when Bewitcher turns up, he can be pretty much unstoppable.
It's the same Bewitcher as the last round, because him and Scotty dominated that.
Yeah.
And of course, the usual Heat 18 with Cam and Rico. So I'm sure that Rico will
And
take
JC as well. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Three of the top four.
Three of
Yeah.
I've just looked at my second heat, and let's hope they don't try to kidnap me and take me back to Scotland. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, Cam's not in Scotland though, is he?
No, he's not actually, is he?
No.
Close enough.
Yeah. What? Not
So-
even worse. Glasgow. God, you'll never get
yeah.
out.
I'm no comment. I don't want to upset anybody.
You'd have bricks on your wheels.
Oh dear. Well, no, Dan isn't meeting reserve because Dan isn't available to be on standby, unfortunately. Number 22. Oh dear. It's getting worse, Dan. It's getting worse.
Only Lofty will do that, mate. Only Lofty will do that.
So that is your SCS preview for this week for round 6. As we move on to our last preview of the week, which is the second leg of the Knockout Cup between the Powder Hall Scorchers and the Newcastle Wolves. And this one, I'm pleased to say, is going to be live streamed on Wednesday at an 8 o'clock start, so earlier start than usual. The Scorchers being at home. I believe you're doing commentary on this one, Dan, with somebody. Wolfie, I believe.
Mr. Wolfie, yes. Me and Wolfie will be doing comms on this one on Wednesday.
Mr. Wolf.
Yeah. So I'll start with you, as always, first, Shads. I think I know what you're going to say.
Am I that predictable?
Predictions for this one? Going on the league meeting the other week?
Scorchers to win the meeting. Narrowly, but enough. I think once the trophy's won, they probably might go into party mode at the end, and maybe your team will get a couple of advantages at the end. But I think the Scorchers are going to have enough, depending on what side they put out. I mean, we don't know if Smiler's going to be around. I mean, it's a cup final, so I'm sure he'll try. And get maybe get a guest or two in, and also it's going to be nerves as well. I mean, you've got young Cam, he's pretty good round there. Would nerves kick in winning the trophy? I'm sure your boys will be up for it, and obviously being an ex-track of yours, Hads, I'm sure you'll be expecting to score well.
Hopefully, yeah. If the league meeting anything to go by.
I can see Scorcher just nicking it on the night, and obviously I think 8 points is a lot to bring back. Andrew, I've been wrong before. Most weeks, actually.
Yeah, I think 8 points, especially on a home track such as Powder Hall, is definitely a tough one to overcome. As Cam's just said there in the chat, it's a strong side from the Scorchers with the 2 dates offered, and we chose the strongest one. To be fair, personally, I think it's been done a bit tactically to be at 8 o'clock on Wednesday. But we'll have to wait and see.
Standard, doesn't it?
It's not many 8 o'clock meetings throughout the season. I know Norse were the ones who used to do the early 8 o'clock meetings because their guys
just
going
because they were an
to
hour
work
ahead, weren't they?
stuff and so. But Dan, I'm going to bring you in and ask you for your thoughts on the second leg.
It's going to be tough. I'm going to admit that's going to be tough. Of course, the Wolves come off the win in the last round of the league, so they've got that. They've got the momentum going into this, and it's just 2 really strong teams. Will Wolves claw back the 8 points around Powder Hall? It'll be tough, but I think they'll run them close. I think the first leg has sort of rattled the Wolves a little bit, obviously losing at home. And if Powder Hall are, as Cam said, it's a strong side, they'll be tough to beat, especially around their own track as well. But then the thing is, though, you see the top of the table Dragons at the moment, who went to Powder Hall, won there, and drew there. So, Powder Hall have got to be on it from the first race.
Look at the league meeting between them, Dan, earlier. Whenever it was comprehensive, wasn't it? 53-37. They got absolutely handed there. It was when was it? I can't remember when it was now. It was
2 weeks ago,
a couple of weeks ago.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 28th of April. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to have to be some sort of turnaround, and to get anything anywhere close. I mean, it was only you and Paris that had decent meetings that night. Had the rest of the team. I mean, what this is that gets picked. Ads notoriously hates the track. He only got 4 points. So
but
I can't see how Wolves are going to claw 8 points back here.
Yeah, but the Wolves did have no Owen or Sis on that first league match. You must remember that, as Cam said in chat there. So it's gonna be a different Wolves team. So hopefully, it'll be a bit more closer than some might say.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish both teams the very best of luck.
Very much
and
appreciated.
Hopefully for a good match to watch along on Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be. I will actually correct you. Sizzler and Owen rode against Scorchers in the league match. It was the first leg they didn't ride in the knockout cup.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Did I say league?
This is that Powder Hall. This is that Powder Hall, though. Dan, this is a.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah.
Totally different track. It's it's a totally different track to Newcastle, and that boost is on the back straights and the home straight. If you don't hit that, you can get absolutely killed.
And it's literally on the fence as well, so you got to almost like go off the track to get the boost to go back onto the track.
Yeah, I mean,
So
Wolves have got the riders to do it, but if Scorchers get an early lead, obviously no tactical substitutes on the KO Cup, and it's going to be the Wolves are going to have to get off to a really good start. Heat advantages in the first two heats, and it'll put the doubt in the Scorchers riders. Maybe some of the younger ones will be a bit more apprehensive. You just don't know, but the Wolves have to get heat advantages the first two heats. Once you get to the halfway stage, it gets very difficult if you're not in contention.
Yeah, I have to agree there. But I think when we rode in the league as well, that Jan didn't ride, they had rider replacement. So that could be another factor. I mean, Jan's really good at Powder Hall as well. I know, obviously, David Nofi
they scored 4 points, I think, from rider replacement, didn't they? Got 4 points.
Yeah,
maybe 5.
Jan will score more than that, won't
he? Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, David Nofi is missing from the SCS, so I expect him, because I know he's on holiday, I expect him to be missing here as well. So I can see a guest or two maybe for the Scorchers in this one. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Cam's giving it away there. One guest and not at reserve. So that means McNally's riding then.
Even 101.
In fact, I've just worked it out, I think, but I won't say because I might.
Tell me in private.
Put it this way: I don't think the number 5. If the number 5 rider's not riding, I've got a good idea we could guess for him, and he used to ride for Powder Hall. That's all I'm saying. Anyway.
And the plot thickens. Doesn't it?
With that being said, that brings us to the end of tonight's show. Unless you guys have got anything else you want to add in?
Oh, I'm good, man.
Good.
Just want to say best of luck to all riders taking part in the BGP and SCS this weekend, and also the KO Cup.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck on Sunday, Dan.
I ain't riding Sunday.
Really?
Not yet. We got to work on him, Shads.
Couple of days yet to change my mind. I doubt it though.
Come on, Dan. You love this track.
Right. So with that being said, we'll just have a quick look at next week's show. Obviously, we'll have the result of the KO Cup Grand Final, Shad's Rider of the Week as always, and the BGP and SCS reviews from round 6, and then the all-important league previews for week 17. So that is the end of tonight's show. So I will say a good night to Shads.
Good night, Hads. Good night, Dan. Good night, Ben. Good night, everyone.
And a good night to the returning Mr. Chester.
Good night, Hads. Good night, Shads. Good night, Ben. Good night, everybody.
And a good night from Ben, producer Ben.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
And good luck, everybody, for the coming week in your racing. And I'll see you, if I don't see you on track, I'll see you in the servers and the podcast next week. Best of luck, everybody, and see you soon. Safe racing.